So you might have seen my last video of a 2-day camping trip up in Snowdonia with my mate Stephen Reed. It's a really fascinating location and it definitely took me out of my comfort zone. And in the evening we managed to get sat down in the old abandoned cabin in front of the log burner, and we chatted about the current state of wild camping videos on YouTube. I also asked Stephen how he's managed his phenomenal growth on YouTube over the last 12 months, and he shared with me some of his secrets on how he crafts his videos, what he's got coming up in the future. So let's head back to a cabin on a mountain in Wales and have a chat with Stephen Reed. So since we last went camping, your channel's changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's grown massively.
When did we last go camping? Was it?
I think it was that was in a quarry as well, I think, in the Peak District.
Was that at the start of 2024?
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But it
was over at least a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's changed in the year? What have you done differently? Because you've gone from mainly camping and running and bits of everything to you're doing like some really in-depth documentaries and stuff now.
Yeah, I think a few things happened. This is a long story. I'm trying not to waffle. I am prone to waffle. I suppose the thing I changed the most in the last year, which seems to be the thing that's, for me anyway, that's caused that sudden burst of growth, was I focused more on topics and titles and video concepts first before doing them. Before I would have just gone for a camp, gone for a hike, and that would have been it. But I found a story. A couple of stories came my way accidentally. A couple of little documentary type stories. I did those, and in the process of doing those, I discovered I really like connecting stories to the landscapes.
Yeah.
I found for me that makes the landscape so much more meaningful. It makes the time I spend there being so much more meaningful, and it finally means that I can scratch the itch that I have with the YouTube videos, which is because my background's filmmaking and commercial filmmaking, but with YouTube you kind of throw a lot of that out the window a lot of the time. But if you're following a story, following a narrative, it means I get to go through the whole process. I get to research, I get to investigate, I get the script, I even get the storyboard, like plan shots where I'm going to do them, and it's more of a filmmaking process than a vlogging process. And I discovered I really liked that, and I suppose the important thing was I discovered that actually people want to watch those. Yeah. And that's been the big. There's lots of other things around that, but that's kind of I've discovered that I really like making story-led documentary type videos while I'm actually in the outdoors. It's finally sort of that sweet spot. It's got a little bit of everything I love in the one.
So it's not just about like the wild camping anymore, is it? And you've done stuff about pollution, things that climate sort of things, issues that are very topical, very people care about, don't they? And it seems to be resonating definitely with the audience.
Yeah, I mean, you said climate as if you're going to say like the one thing I never talk about or mention is the climate change. Yeah, because I find that it's such a loaded phrase, and I think it can be a distraction, because there's lots of bad stuff that's going to happen in the environment, and everybody agrees it's bad. So I'm interested in talking about those. Yeah. Rather than getting mired down in sort of the climate change debate. So that's why I've been focusing on things like deforestation and water pollution, and in the future I'm going to be going and looking at land access rights. Yeah. And those kinds of things, because everybody sort of agrees. They're not controversial in the same way that if you go out and try and talk about climate change directly is.
Yeah, people say that climate's always changed throughout time, hasn't it? From ice ages and stuff like that. So it's happening anyway. Yeah. Without going into it, it just seems to be accelerating a little bit at the moment. So I would say.
That's a good coffee.
Yeah, sounds it. So you recently, that'll be that.
Sorry, I'm close.
Silicosis.
Yeah, my voice. Every single year at the Outdoor Expo, I lose my voice. I'm not used to talking. Yeah, as much.
So when I first started watching camping videos, things like that, there was probably a handful of people that were making videos. You know, your Days Wild Camping, Wiltshire Man, a few others. Nowadays, there's literally hundreds, isn't there?
Yeah, it's saturated.
Yeah, so it's at the point where so we're camping somewhere now that I think is a little bit extreme. This isn't the sort of place that I would normally go camping.
Yeah.
And some of the places that we've been to, I wouldn't recommend that anybody goes and do them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just if you want to get like this is our job now.
Yeah.
And you need to get a certain amount of views just to pay the mortgage and things like that. Just walking up a hill, camping.
It's not good. No.
It's not enough anymore, is it? Because there's that many people doing it.
If you want to grow.
If you want to grow your channel, I think that's where you've found your little niche. Your platform, should I say?
Yeah, it's not for me. It's not about the location being extreme. Like here, it's not about coming somewhere dangerous or scary. It's about coming somewhere that's got the story. That's the interesting bit about it. You can that something actually happens here.
So in your video, you're telling tales of things that have gone off here.
Yeah, terrible things.
Tragedies. What it was like to work here, all of that kind of thing. So, and you do quite a lot of research. So you went to Scotland recently.
Yeah.
You did 2 weeks of research.
It's probably more than that. I read an entire novel. I've been there at that location 3 times over the course of 5 years. And then you went on location to film it. We're there 4 or 5 days or whatever it was, and then you've got all of your editing on top of that. The graveyard video.
Yes.
Yeah. So the graveyard video was, if I'm doing a video that's a documentary, like a 25-minute documentary, and I plan to have them no longer than 25 minutes because I find those types of videos, once you go over 25 minutes, the click-through rate drops. Because I think people see it, but 25 minutes is about a length. Short
time you can invest in.
Yeah. It's not too short, it's not too long. So for videos like that, I'm really strict. I script roughly, I can do about 1,000 words is 10 minutes. So I will write a script that's like 2,000 to 2,500 words max. I need to be quite strict about that. Like everything's scripted. I then go through the script and figure out what order I'm going to shoot it in because it's often shot out of sequence. Like my intro was shot at the quarry, so I had to remember to do that first, and then I go back to the start, so I go through planned locations. The morning of that shoot, I got up early and took my e-bike up the mountains and shot all my drone footage because there was rain forecast later in the day, so I knew if I waited until I was actually going up with all the kit, I couldn't do it. Shot all the drone footage, went to the graveyard, made sure I could find somewhere to camp because I don't want any question marks when I get up because you got a script to deliver.
In a time frame, everything's got to work.
Everything has to work. And then eventually I headed out about 2 p.m. and went up, and then I shot my script as I went, breaking it up with sort of chopped up throughout the day, the night, and the next morning. So that's very planned. I don't do every video, but those sorts of videos you have to really buy. I find that I do anyway.
Very different to me. So most videos, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen. I don't have a script. There's odd times where, more recently, I've had some kind of topic or a message that I want to get across. Apart from the ones where I'm saying, this is my experience of wild camping, this is the how-to kind of stuff. But the amount of effort you're putting in is phenomenal.
But here's the thing. I thought Paul scripted his videos because I've watched your videos and you're walking along, you say a sentence, and then it cuts to a new location. The sentence is continued without skipping a beat. It seems to flow. Another location, every like 10 seconds, your shots are changing. I couldn't do that without a script. I lose my thought. So I was convinced you were scripting those.
No, that's just me
yeah.
remembering what I'd said before and finishing the sentence.
Yeah, I can't do that. It's gone. Yeah. By the time I moved, it's gone. I could do it a little bit, but yeah. So I always thought those sort of videos when you did them were scripted. So you've got that ability that I don't have in a different way. I think you have to make videos according to what your strengths are. I think. Well, you don't have a choice, I suppose.
Yeah. When we arrived here, I thought, what was he brought me here for? It looks.
We're going to North Wales, beautiful North Wales.
We've had the walk up. It was quite tricky. You can see all of the scars on the landscape, and you can almost feel the pain of the men that were digging the rocks out, the slate out. But when we've got up here, it's been the perfect evening.
Yeah.
The vistas over the mountains, the light catching the mountains. It's been absolutely stunning. And then we've got this. Okay, it's a bit run down and rustic, shall we say, but
it's okay with some lights up. And
we're warm. We made it homely. You got the Christmas decorations up. So sometimes it is nice to do something different, and it's worth some of the effort going out of my comfort zone. Just for this evening. It's been great. So what next? What's the plan for this year for the channel for you?
Plan is to do maybe one documentary type story a month. The next one, I've got two choices, two stories in mind. Actually, I probably have about 5 potential stories of documentaries in the works in various stages of research, planning, and scripting. I've got one that I'm wanting to do, which is it's not about camping. It's about cycling. But it's about gravel cycling, which is sort of outdoors, and it's about the fact. And this connects into land access. In the Republic of Ireland, there's 9,000 kilometres, so that's about 5,000 miles of forest trails, forestry plantation trails, fire tracks. So you have those got those in England, Scotland, and Wales. And England, Scotland, and Wales, you can take a bike and cycle through them. You can walk through them. In Ireland, it's illegal to take a bike onto these 5,000 miles of trails. And it's because forestry is owned. It's a semi-state business, but it's less connected to the government, and the government doesn't take liability for injuries, which means that Quilcha, which is the semi-state business that controls it, has just decided, no, we don't want to take the risk. We'll just ban people from accessing this. So I'm wanting to start poking.
Poking the fire.
Poking the fire. When it comes to access rights in Ireland, because right to roam England, you've got 11%.
I think it's around there. It might be 8%. I can't remember what it is.
In
open access land.
Yeah. Ireland 1%.
Yeah.
And that's mostly the national parks, of which there's 6 or 7, I think. But all other land is privately owned. Even the tallest mountain in Ireland is owned by 3 or 4 different families, and it splits at the summit.
It's crazy. It's like we've not broke anything down. We've not climbed on anything to get here, have we?
Well, a fence.
Well, we stepped over.
The fence.
Stepped over a flattened fence, and we walked through a hole in the fence.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to do to be able to explore your own country here, and your own country as well. There's that many chains and restrictions in place. Yeah. It's great, and I get it sometimes with places like this where there are hidden dangers and some plain inside dangers. But
put signs up.
Yeah.
Tell people your responsibility. Yeah. My thing is, I feel, give people access, protect the landowners. So landowners should be protected from people's stupidity.
Yeah.
If you're going onto land, you accept, okay, I'm responsible for my own safety.
Yeah.
And the landowner has a duty to warn you. Yeah. And then you have the choice whether or not to, ignore that or not.
Common sense, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, put it this way. You think of how many people alcohol kills a year, and that's exactly that's exactly the same thing. People are aware of the risks.
Yeah.
They have a choice whether or not they're going to smoking, I suppose, as well.
Well, you see the cigarette packet's got like pictures of
Gooey lungs,
Yeah.
it's horrible. Saying that, access to the countryside is much healthier than
absolutely
smoking or drinking. So I want to tackle land access. That's one. There's another thing where every single year, about this time of year, there's fires in the mornings, gorse fires, and every single year, the general public blames it on wild campers, which I don't like, teenagers, or just people setting fires. The truth of it is, it's farmers, because they're legally allowed to burn gorse certain times of year to clear pasture land, but the general public don't know about it. I was contacted by, don't want to give too many details, but someone connected to the outdoors industry who says they would love to talk about it, but it could really harm their business.
Yeah.
So they're wanting to push me onto the ball.
Okay.
So I might make a video about that.
So since you've been doing these, have you been getting quite a few people contacting you with potential stories and
Yes.
Little reviews and putting you onto things that whistleblowing kind of stuff?
Yeah, I didn't expect this at all. I've had people who work for government organisations, people who work for sewage, people work for forestry, basically every single organisation that is the guilty party in one of these sort of stories, someone within them has contacted me, and this is why I have a lot of sympathy for sort of the day-to-day workers, especially within things like forestry. I mean, I think we need forestry, nothing against ordinary forestry workers, but in Northern Ireland in particular, forestry isn't well managed. The problem makers are always at the top. But yeah, someone quietly gave me a 30-page document that hadn't been published and looked like it was being quietly suppressed, which was all about pollution in Belfast Lough, and ended up making that video. And since then, I'm getting emails and messages from people giving me their issue and that issue. So I have to say no to most of them, because those really, really big issue videos.
Yeah, you'll have a target on your back, won't you?
Well, it's not so much they're negative stories. So when you make a negative story, there's no way of finishing it in a way that's uplifting or positive.
Yeah.
And I know the video I've made here is about sad stories, but that's history, that's different.
Yeah.
When you make a negative story about something that's happening now, people then reply and get angry in the comments.
Yeah.
And then, even though they're not directed at me, I'm having to absorb a lot of people's anger around an issue, which fries my head. So I don't like to do too many that are really negative. So that's why I'm trying, like a big controversial issue, something about trees, historical, and then also still do
your fun stuff.
The fun stuff, yeah. I want to do long distance multi-day trails this year again.
Good variety.
Yeah. Yeah. The downside is I have to acknowledge the fact that the views drop off a lot when it's not those bigger stories.
But the way that it works now with the algorithm, the people that watched the bigger stories last time, they're going to be favourite the new one when it comes along, aren't they?
Yeah, because YouTube's not smart.
Yeah.
YouTube knows what you published. And I've discovered changing the title and the thumbnail won't help, because YouTube knows what your video is about.
Yes.
And I think that's where the reach comes from. YouTube they transcribe your video, they look within it, and they can tell what it is about.
AI will summarise it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that influences how much YouTube pushes it out, because from that they'll know if people are going to actually watch it or not. They'll almost know ahead of time. So I don't think it's so much the algorithms against you, it's just that YouTube is so good now, they know if people will watch a video or not. So if they know it won't do well, they just don't push it out. I think.
Although nobody really knows.
Nobody knows. Well, you find out with your videos, there's certain ones will probably be more popular than others, but you probably do the other ones anyway because you enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The gear kind of ones, they always do really well, but I don't want to go down the route of the gear.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's in the comments. It's a bit unfriendly sometimes when it comes to gear. But yeah, there's some evergreen stuff. This is how I would do that, or how to do this. Recommendations on how to get over the fear of getting out while camping, all those kind of things. They all tend to do really well.
Good, because I've just made up fear of wild camping,
Yeah.
which I've realised I've totally stolen from you.
But that's the thing.
Or how to boil a sausage roll.
Yeah. Yeah, that's done alright as well. But yeah, it's sometimes you have to steal. There's not very much stuff that's original.
Oh, there's no original ideas.
Yeah, other than I've not seen anybody boil a sausage roll by YouTube. So that's why I went for that particular one.
That's your other channel.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very difficult to be original. So but what you can do is you can get really good ideas from a different niche.
Yeah.
And implement it into your niche that may have not been done before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and even just telling a story, because like the historical stuff videos I make, none of those are new stories. Like the graveyard video, that was based on a novel, and I literally held the book during the video. I read the book, which is a book that's got like 20,000 words in it, and I essentially wrote my own version, which was 20,000 words.
Yeah.
You know, so that wasn't original, but the way I told it was original.
Yeah.
And even people actually went back and bought that book
based on what you've done.
Yeah, so you don't need to be original, but the idea doesn't need to be original, the execution does, I think. But it's so complicated because there's just all these shifting factors. You just got to keep trying stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like if you've done a lot of having, here's an idea, you should go to like a weird hut halfway up a mountain and have like a casual conversation chat. Because you haven't done that before.
I may have done something similar before, yeah. Not in a hut, I don't think.
Yeah. Not in a Welsh quarry.
No, this is the first time I've been here. But it is fascinating.
Yeah. There's a lot of poets as well on the wall.
Yeah. Ian was here.
Yeah, what was that movie with the guys scratching stuff all over the wall?
Can't remember.
Like that. Like 1989, 2003, 2001, 1998. People have been coming up here for a long time. 2018, 83? That one?
Yeah.
I think the quarry closed in 67. 96. 97. I'm just pointing out dates now.
Yeah. He did say he rambled a bit, didn't he?